It is Tuesday, April 27th, and now for some endurance Twitter. Dave Roach tweeted out, "The problem is never our bodies, it's the standards. Athletes come in all shapes and sizes, and that individual uniqueness is so beautiful. You are enough as you are, not because you achieve some standard, but because you transcend any standard. Love, you're strong." It's the article from Trail Runner Magazine, which I'll probably be doing a video on later on. One of the things I kind of really like is that people are now more accepting of different sizes and different abilities. And I've talked about my issues in the past. I've always been a big guy. When I was in sixth grade, I decided I wanted to play football, and I went out for tackle football. And they had a 85-pound league, and I weighed 90 something pounds. No matter what I did, I was 12 years old. I could not get down to 85 pounds, so I ended up having to play in the 105-pound league at like 90, 95 pounds, and I ended up playing against like kids in ninth grade. But I was always been a big kind of kid. Used to wear the husky jeans. Played sports all through my life, and then of course in high school I quit baseball in the middle of the season. I went out for the cross country. The track team broke 5 minutes for the mile, but even then, I was 5'10" when I was in junior high. Still 5'10", maybe shrunk a little bit, but I was 150, 160 pounds. I've always been a big guy, so it's kind of interesting. I've talked about how I just mentioned there was a good thing on Instagram that I reposted about people saying things to you, and Amelia Boone was talking about that, how she just recently did a Zoom meeting and someone said, "Oh, you look healthy, you put on some weight," and she struggled with eating disorders over the years. And I talked about how I was I won in 2016. It was kind of fun. I went to a 50K and came dead last in March, and then I went to Beyond Limits and I won the 48 hour, and I was 250 plus. And in fact, when I did my 300 miles and across the years, I was that weight. And I've been pretty much 250 is my racing weight, whatever it is. So I went to Beyond Limits. I won the 48-hour race with 138 miles, beat a couple people that had full crews and stuff, normal size runners, I'd say, on plus size. And then so I'd had a really good string of runs. And then I was at Western States crewing one of my friends. And, a Friday you're at the expo at Squaw Valley. It's this beautiful facility. And there's just tons of people walking around. It's with their team, of, crews and pacers. And, I'm just kind of walking around by myself, and people were calling me over and talking to me. And I told people this, it's just amazing, though. I walked up and talked to a couple of groups of people, and I had this happen to me twice in one afternoon, where I went up and started talking to a group, the runner with their crew and pacers and friends, and they're like, "Oh, hey, this is Andy. He's a really good ultra runner. He has won some races and da 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 da." And then without missing a beat, they said, "Yeah, and if he only lost some weight, he'd be a great runner." And they just say that, and you're just like, I just don't even bother saying anything back to them, though I should. And it's kind of just implying, yeah, he trains really hard, he's disciplined in this facet of his life, but can't push himself away from the table. And I know you can come at me and say whatever you want to say about it, and I've had people over the years come at me, and it is what it is. But I think that one of the nice things about the acceptance of all kinds of things nowadays, rightly so, is that now people aren't allowed to just make comments like that. I don't have to defend myself. Other people have defended myself, like here on YouTube and stuff. So, kind of long-winded, but I really appreciate this article, and I like that people are coming out with more and more things. Saw this, I like this one. Cassie Cass said, "Good morning, dads. Do not babysit their own children." And when I started my run camp in 2008, 2009, most of my athletes were moms who also had jobs and wives. And it was always really upsetting when they would say, "Well, I don't know if I can come to practice today. I can't get my husband to babysit the kids." And you're like, "No, when they're your kids, you're not babysitting. It's just called being a parent." And I remember some of my older women in the group would get me really pissed off when their women would say that. So it's definitely a thing for sure, for sure. If you want to check out I Run Far, Hello Tuesday too. We catch up with the Canyons 100K champ Anthony Costals on last weekend's race. A big year of life for him and preparing for the Western States 100. I had never really heard of him, so there's always new people coming up through the thing. So I wonder if he's been a road guy. I have to check that article out later on. This one, Outside Magazine, "Burnout isn't exactly the same as overtraining, but there's plenty of overlap. Mindfulness, self-compassion, and cognitive behavioral therapy are all great ways to combat it." And it says how perfectionism leads to athlete burnout. And it's fairly interesting. I, for the most part, find that few people train very much at all. They talk about training a lot, but when it comes down to it, they race a lot, and I think they get more burnt out from just racing too much and getting injured. I remember seeing several posts of people at Jackpot saying, "Oh, I haven't been running for the past couple months," and they go out and do a 100-mile race, which just to me is mind-boggling. And then I've got a friend who I've been working with for years, and she's been pretty healthy, but she recently got hurt, and she's been hurt for months. And then the doctors said, "Okay, you can start training again." And she just goes out and does 10 miles on a leg that she hasn't been able to run on for months. And guess what? The leg's hurting her. I'm like, you got to start off in baby steps. Just stay healthy and be boring is what I'm always saying. So we scroll here. Kyle Meber. Shoe companies love to mess with the tongue and laces, then call it innovation. Yes, they do. And they often screw it up. I know my friend Adam, when he was at Javelina with the shoe he was wearing, he likes the Hokas, and he had a model that he liked, but they changed up the tongue and laces, and the tongue was beating on that that soft tissue there on his foot and really messed up his race and ended up having issues. And then I was talking to some other people at this past race, and they were saying the same things. Like, I just wish they get a shoe and quit messing with it, but oh well. Steve Magnus says, hard work only becomes smart and sustainable work when it's supported by rest, and that's definitely the case. That's what I'm trying to work on more, is resting more so I can do the hard work and get faster. But, it's been a year since I got out of the hospital, and definitely not going as fast as I used to. So we shall see. This was kind of cool. It says, if you ever felt too young or old or slow, these two Northern Irish athletes won't make you feel any better. 12-year-old Emmerich McKee ran a 16:45K. Wow, that's really, really fast. A age 12 world record. And 61, Tommy Hughes ran 2:31:18. And 16:40, that's super fast. 5K, it doesn't say. I guess she must have ran it on a track. Nah, it must be a road. That is super amazing. Speaking of some other fast guys, this kid, Hobbs Kessler, ran to number 3 all-time high school 1500 at a UST Grand Prix, and he reflects on his race. You can check out this article here. He's definitely been running some really good times. I believe he's going to go to Northern Arizona next year, so the rich get richer, and he also really likes to rock climb as well. It'll be interesting to see if he keeps doing the rock climbing thing with, mixing that up with his running, because if I was a coach, I would not want my athletes rock climbing. You can get pretty hurt doing that kind of stuff. Let's see if they show here. Whoops, I don't want to subscribe to those guys. I was trying to remember what his times are. Oh yeah, yep. There's the Alan Webb has the best one, 3:38:26, and then Jim Ryan's 3:39. He did that as a junior. Drew Hunter's on this list. Ryan Hall, Grant Fisher. And, he threw down a last lap of 56:06, so pretty cool. He's trying to figure out, to guarantee a spot in Olympic trials, he will need an auto qualifier of 3:37:50, which incidentally would give him the high school record to go with his indoor mile record standard he claimed over the winter. Yeah, he broke 4 minutes for the mile in the indoor track, so congratulations to him. It'd be kind of cool to see him also make the Olympic trials. Nico Young, who is a true freshman at Northern Arizona, just recently threw down a super fast record-setting under 20 5K time and will be running in the Olympic trials. And I saw that there's a good news in the Olympic trials. They refunded everybody their ticket money, but they're going to have limited seating, so hopefully we'll have people in the stands. I remember Magic Johnson tweeted out asking if there's going to be people in the stands, and so now Magic can have some company. And then, of course, Jonathan Gault from Let's Run says that the Ethiopian Olympic trials won't be held in Switzerland after all due to COVID-19 concerns. Serious questions remain as to whether the top 3 Ethiopian men, including Keneste Bekele, will race on Saturday due to injury. So it's kind of interesting how they're picking that team. It's kind of like what happened with Kipchoge. They were originally going to run in Germany, and then they had to move it to the Netherlands, and they ran at some airport, and he ran, of course, 2 hours and 4 minutes and 30 seconds faster than the best American ever. It was only like his 9th best time. So not a lot going on in the Twitter universe for endurance Twitter, but a few good articles. And definitely, if you want to see these articles, just follow me on Twitter /AndyNoise. And as always, stay healthy, be boring, and please subscribe.